Mr. Speaker, recently in Calgary, the Minister of Natural Resources actually said that decisions on pipelines like Energy East would be political decisions made by Cabinet in the same way budget decisions are made. Now, that's a little scary in and of itself. So much for the process, Mr. Speaker, and so much for the Canadian regulator. There are thousands of Canadians out of work who want to work on projects like Energy East. Exactly what is the criteria that the Prime Minister and Cabinet will be using to make these political decisions on pipelines?
The Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, it was legislative changes made by the other government that led to Cabinet being asked to make important decisions on great national projects. A political decision, Mr. Speaker, is a decision for which politicians are held accountable. And we will be held accountable after a process that will have the confidence of the Canadian people, will have a chance to play out in a reasonable way and in a robust way. When all of that is done, the government will take responsibility for the decision it takes.
The member for Portage-Lisgar.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the government is absolutely politicizing a process, and in the midst of it, Mr. Speaker, they're laughing while thousands, tens of thousands of jobs are being lost in Alberta and New Brunswick and across the country. Mr. Speaker, we also know that without Energy East, Canadian refineries are forced to import foreign oil. Mr. Speaker, can the minister tell us if he is looking at what the upstream emissions are for the oil shipped to New Brunswick from Venezuela and Saudi Arabia? Or is there one standard for Canadian oil and no standard for foreign oil?
The Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, we announced several weeks ago a new process that will lead to a better regulatory process for Canada. And we know from experience over the last 5 and 6 years that that process has not carried the support of Canadians, and therefore no projects have actually come to fruition since 2011, Mr. Speaker. We are not going to repeat a failed process. We're going to introduce a new one that has a better chance of holding the confidence of the Canadian people and therefore leading to a result of which more Canadians can have confidence than they previously were able to under the previous government.